you. child in Valorant has heard the tale before about the cursed mummy boy who felt his heart no more. So sad and lorn, the helpless lad, Amumu was his name. He ventured out to find a friend and learn about his bane. For many years, young Amumu traveled through the lands, determined to make friends if only they would understand. But even when Amumu stood upon the ledge of home, his hope would disappoint him and he would remain alone. But then the curse began to whisper in his ear. It would confirm what was Amumu's biggest fear. It pledged that never shall someone become his friend. It pledged that he shall be alone until his end. Sorrow and despair became too much to bear.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to technically it's a week 7 matchup here at CCS. My name is Soren. Joining me is Espada. Espada, we have a bit of a rescheduled game. Doesn't have much in terms of standings for the actual playoffs quite yet, but has a lot of implications for the gauntlet that's coming up to determine the final 2 spots in the lower bracket for playoffs. We have DoV Twisted as well as Skyloft, and we are jumping right on into bands.
Yeah, looks like we banned a bunch of power picks for uh, blue side, Oriana, Ash, and I believe that's Senna. Yes, Senna. So a lot of good picks banned away from blue side off rip, but they B1 the Nocturne, and where response is Seraphine, which is a bit interesting since her most popular pairing is the Ash. So I wonder what they're gonna look to pair with it.
Absolutely. And it looks like we're not going to get an answer to that quite yet, as they instead go for. I think this is technically a flex. I think Jungle Olaf is becoming more and more popular, but obviously can also go to that top lane. So the question of ADC is going to remain as we do wait for this second pick here for DOV Twisted. I am just going to mention that we do have, I believe, an emergency sub, or excuse me, not an emergency sub, but a sub in for the side of Skyloft. It is going to be Pineaholic, going to be subbing in on that top side. But Spud, I think you said that pretty good name, pretty good player to be having filled in. So hopefully not seeing too much of a dip or change over on the Skyloft side, especially with how much is on the line for this game and the chance that only having to play a BO3 instead of having to do a BO1 and 3 going towards next week.
Yeah, I think Pineaholic will fill in Soaz's shoes decently. I think he's more of like your all-around player rather like a carry player that Soaz is. So I think he'll slot in pretty nicely for Spire. We mentioned the Olaf is a flex. I'm like I guarantee money that it's probably just going to go to Witch at Black Mass. It's kind of his bread and butter. Spire has like run these comps before, double enchanters with an Olaf jungle, and it's just like a meatball run at you comp. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's just the answer to the Nocturne. And we missed our pick on the side of Spire. I assume it's ADC. Oh, support. So Seraphine Leona, possibly. The Seraphine is still possibly a flex, so we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, we are seeing a little bit more of a rise in AP carries down on that bot side, so there is always a chance. However, I don't think Seraphine Leona is typically seen as a pretty strong combination. Obviously, again, it's kind of growing into the meta, so who knows? Maybe this is something that Skyloft have been cooking up in the background. But you imagine ADC is going to be something that they look towards, and actually, or excuse me, I almost at Apollo. DoV Twisted are believing that it's going to be the bot lane as they are going to go for another mid lane ban away, going to be taking away the victor.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna expect the Seraphine is ADC is just gonna be down there, weak sided, just wave clearing against the Seraphine. So pretty standard right now from the side of Spire. I'm assuming they're just gonna blind their top laner here. They ban the Ornn, so probably a Scion angle. Looks pretty good here. And Smoke would probably answer with either Mordekaiser. Oh, never mind. They go for the Anivia.
Hey, Anivia coming through obviously has a lot of CC, both obviously in the stun, but also those walls can be very, very scary, especially in team fights, especially towards the jungle and in river. Obviously, really good at cutting off means of egress for a lot of team fights. So that is going to be a dangerous thing to play for. And it looks like Silas is going to be a potential pick here. You'd imagine that's going to be going into the mid lane. Definitely, I think a pretty good play. Obviously, that Encore I think is going to be the biggest ultimate to take. I think the Olaf will be helpful, especially if Silas is the carry. Obviously, just not being able to die is always a good thing, especially when you are going to be playing Silas, which is a little bit more engaged. But I think we're really going to be looking at that Seraphine ultimate to be a big engage tool coming off the Silas.
Yeah, and I wonder if the Anivia is a possible flex here for top lane. I know they've nerfed it twice now, but there's still a chance, and it would be into a Scion, so they could punish the aggressive assassin mid here with a pick of their own. I don't know what Bongo has up his sleeve if he wants a counter here.
Absolutely. Final pick of this draft. It looks like he's going to be a hover Yone, and that is going to be locked in. Assuming that does mean that is going to be a Yone top lane. I believe that matchup is actually pretty favorable for Yone, at least early on. Okay. That is also going to confirm that is going to be an APC or ADC. Seraphine down on bot lane paired up with the Leona. I mean, a lot of engage tools down there. Sivir, obviously not the most mobile, obviously has the ultimate, but that's more of a speed up than a means to really dodge out of the way or get themselves out of tricky situations. It's more of an engage tool or a disengage tool than an actual dodging ability. So if one of those ultimates lands and stuns up the Sivir could be in a real big problem in that case. But obviously, there is always the Braum who can give a little bit of protection, but there's only so much you can do when you have double CC that is going to be lasting for a rather long time. So one good gank and that poor Sivir could be a big target that just has nowhere to go.
Yeah, and it's looking like the Anivia top lane that's going to free scale into the Scion. This matchup is pretty annoying for the Scion. You can't really like get on top of the Anivia. She can just farm from afar, just poke you out and free scale. They opted out of the harder counter when the Yone to like blast the Scion out of lane. But I think this is pretty good. They have two really good matchups for the solo lanes. And a pretty safe bot lane, so this Leona can look to impact the map with the Olaf.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that I'm also thinking of right now for this Anivia is obviously with the egg, the ability to get that revive off through her passive. If there is an outplay available, but it does end up being risky. It also does kind of negate the passive of Scion, because sure, Scion can get that pick in that death state, but they're not going to be able to have enough time to actually go through both whatever's left of Nivea's health plus the egg. So it's going to kind of hard counter Scion in that regard too. As we take a look at the full rosters of these two teams, final look here at Twisted, I I do worry about the Scion. Um, I don't know the matchup directly with both Silas and Yone, but I mean Yone is also could be a massive engage tool that could be used. So I think that's more of a present going over to Ohio Drive, who's going to be able to operate the Silas and maybe get a little bit more value. I think that's actually really helpful for them to have that big ultimate that's just kind of given to them after the Silas pick comes through.
Yeah. I wonder if they're willing to swap their soul winners on the side of DoV. Send the Scion mid, send the Silas Scion mid, send the Silas top lane to punish the immobile Anivia. The matchup is not actually bad for Scion in the mid lane, considering how short the lane is. You know, it's just like reset, ult back. It's way more playable than a long lane like top lane into Yone. But if they're opting into these matchups, I think it's gonna be hard for the solos to do anything on the side of DoV, and I'm worried about them in the team fights, especially later in the game, in drags and river fights. This Anivia kind of cucks their comp, separates their back line from their front line, and so they got to be careful when they're looking to all in. These Anivia wall
Right.
placements can be a bit scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of different things to look out for. But with that being said, obviously spectator delay is something we have to take into account. So we are going to send over to a brief intermission. And when we get back, we are going to be jumping right into game number 1 of this matchup between DoV, Twisted, and Skyloft. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back. We are live here in game number 1. If you're just now joining us, my name is Soren. Joining me on the desk is Espada, and we are in game number 1 of DoV Twisted versus Skyloft. And we immediately have a little bit of a matchup down here in bot lane. At least one ability to use, but goes wide. So both sides are just posturing and maybe even dancing a little bit. As I think any early aggression. Nope, never mind. They are not. They are not taking the peace offering from the side of Twisted. Skyloft want violence here on bot lane.
Yeah, a bit DM there by the side of Spire. The if you wanted to dance, and they look for a cheeky poke right there. But I don't know, this bot lane, that's probably like the most action we'll see throughout the game. It's kind of like a nothing burger farming out duel from these two. We're excited in the mid lane matchup. I feel like that's where we're gonna get the brunt of the fighting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely feels that way. And notably, I feel like it's a rare thing for me on the desk. I'm so used to seeing like range versus ranged or ranged versus melee. I feel like very rarely do we actually get to see two melee champs go at it in mid lane, and we're gonna see a little bit of a brawl there. Meanwhile, we did see Seeker attempt to find a Q, just trying to find an entry onto, I believe it was the Sivir there, but unfortunately it goes a little bit wide, and it is just going to be ability usage. This top lane, I feel like we're going to continue to see a lot of just so, okay, Bongo goes in, but fortunately, most of the abilities go wide, but with that Ohio drives forward and tries to find something, gets a little bit more damage done, and that's going to be a pretty healthy trade going over to the Silas, and they want more, stunned, knocked up, and do they have the combos? Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. First blood goes to Ohio Drive, and DoV Twisted.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we want to see with our with our R5 counter pick in the Yone. I know it's a bit volatile, but it looks like Obongo just missed too many abilities, and Ohio Drive was able to
drives
just
forward
him
and tries to
well.
find something, gets a little bit more
nice
damage done, and that's going to be a pretty healthy trade going over to the Silas, and they want more, stunned, knocked up, and do they have the combos? Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. First blood goes down just a little bit too long this early into the game for Obongo, and gets pretty hard punished by the Silas. It looks like we might have the opportunity for a bit of action here towards this bottom side. Both junglers in the area. Oh, a little bit of a pincer move here. Stunned, but I think the Q goes wide from Glacial. They're not able to capitalize on Panda Boat, who is stunned up. And with that, they have to back away as the Olaf was spaced out, and they don't have the damage to find a pick anywhere else. Meanwhile, up on the top side, Ohio Drive having to flash over the wall to safety. So Bongo goes in, has the pot to get a little bit of healing, the refillables coming through. So Bongo seemingly not really missing a step despite being solo boloed early in this game.
Yeah. With that early aggression, both mid and bot, Olaf was able to secure the bot crab, and he looks like he's securing the top one too. So he will be a camp up on the Nocturne. So that's some benefit coming out of these early skirmishes from the side of Spire.
Absolutely. I imagine we're probably going to continue to see a lot of this trading back and forth in mid lane. We're probably going to get a lot of looks up on the top side, but I feel like for a while of it, it's just going to be the Scion farming and the Anivia kind of bullying them whenever they get the opportunity. Obviously, it is a melee versus ranged matchup up on the top side, so it's going to be a little bit one-sided for quite a while. But as long as Scion can continue to be able to get a lot of farm, which Scion has been able to right now, just about 10 CS up over their opponent. Smoke doing pretty good job. Pineholic actually taking a turret shot there just to stall the recall, which is going to help their lane state a little bit and help get their wave into a more favorable position.
Yeah, it looks like Sion's opting to stay to catch the wave rather than TP back. And that's one of the reasons why he is up 10 CS on the Anivia. She opted for the cheater and walked back instead of the early TP usage. Personally, if you're in the top lane, your very first TP should be used selfishly to get back to lane, and then they're looking for a quick trade on Olaf.
Yeah, there is going to be the exhaust, but it's going to run out eventually. And here comes Seeker, who is just going to assist. Massive Q coming out from Glacial on the flank. It's going to force out the flash from Fate, as it is a 1-for-none. As there's going to be Skyloft Spire finding something. Meanwhile, Bongo trying to find a pick onto a high drive. Pulls everything in and uses the full kit and caboodle, but is unable to find a kill off the back of it. A lot of low health bars here for Skyloft, but that is going to help give them a little bit of a lead back. And it also is going to give them a little bit of a gold lead back, even if it's just 100. Oh, and Smoke! Smoke actually falls. Yeah, Smoke falls on the top side, so Pinaholic is going to find that solo boa kill and is barely going to live to tell the tale of it, but will be able to.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the greed coming in from the Scion. He opted to stay on this tower. Oh, just some quick trading here in the mid lane. Olaf is forced to flash. Ends up being another...
Nothing crazy.
Nothing, yeah. Yeah, I think DoV botched the two-man invade onto the Olaf-Leona duel, which is, I think, a bit suspect to go for in the first place.
Ohio is just gone. The E from Yone just confirms it no matter what. I think the kill did go over to Seeker, though, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Not exactly where you want that gold to go. More before going on to the Yone, but that's going to give a little bit of an opening here. They are going to be spotted, obviously, because of the scuttle, but you can see that they are going to be starting up the Drake, and right now, DoV Twisted really don't have a means to have any say in the matter. They're just going to have to watch through the vision of the scuttle as that first Drake gets secured, and it is going to be the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, agreed. Nocturne didn't hit 6 yet, so there's no way to get into pit. He had burn flash earlier, so that's just pretty much Dragon. That's free for the side of the Spire. They had the mid prio, they had the Leona, so they had the Olaf 6. So it was pretty much guaranteed. I was actually expecting them to do it a little bit earlier, but I guess they wanted to farm up and get the level 6 first on the Olaf. And Nocturne is slowly getting his. I think he just hit it. So I wonder where he's gonna use his first ult. I think that's that's the most important thing for side DoV right now. I feel like they're looking for a pick here on the Nivea, burn the flash, and the Nocturne are. They're full committing for this dive.
Yeah, they want the Nivea bad, and the three of them are going to be able to do so. The Resurrect's coming through. Pinaholic, okay, not gonna be able to get out. Yeah, notably here, though, the Olaf is present, so they're not going to be able to get much from the wave, as is not going to be allowed to crash into the tower. It's going to be a little bit of extra CS going over to the Olaf, but that is going to be a big pickup, and it's going to help propel them towards Grubs. But there is a lot of presence here, which is still in the area. But in this 2v1, this is going to be very sketchy. TP comes through from Smoke as well. So 3v14 if you count Ohio drives in the area. They're just trying, but this is very awkward. This is a very awkward placement, and they're just going to have to give up the Grubs, despite having the man advantage, at least for the time being.
Yeah, they used every R on the Nivea dive earlier, so they have like very little tools. And Braum isn't even 6 yet, so I feel like this should just be the Spires. But it looks like they're opting to leave themselves, which is a bit surprising, considering they have the ults on their side. They do get the last Grub, and both teams just walk out.
Yeah, that in the 4v4, a lot of posturing, but no real big engages. And in the midst of that kind of chaos that kind of unfolds, that is going to be all 3 Grubs secured by Skyloft. So that's going to be first of the 2 major objectives, both going over towards the red side. That's going to be a massive boon from them early, especially as they have gotten a bit of control in general game. Obviously a little bit up on gold, notably not crazy, it's only a couple hundred, but still that is a lead that they have on hand. And now they also have a little bit of a stat boost as we see Smoke. Yeah, this is just a little bit of bullying. Ranged versus melee top lane matchup. This is about as well as it's gonna go for Smoke, as they are just taking chunks of damage.
Yeah, and he also opted for the spellbook rune, so he might as well not have a rune at this point of the game. And even with the gold being so close, I still favor the side of Spire. They are up a drag. They are up the grubs. And second Nocturne are still used here in the bot lane. But a nice Seraphine ulti to mitigate some of that. But I think she is just dead.
Yeah, she is gone and dust. Seeker is able to survive, however, but at the end of the day, losing the ADC is definitely worse off, as we see Ohio Drive immediately go onto Obongo, and this is going to be a very back and forth. But right now, Ohio Drive seems to be the one getting the upper hand, but the Q is going to go for smoke, enough, or excuse me, Q2 is able chunks of to get the Yone out of dodge.
Yeah, and he also opted for the
that is going
spell
to force
book
a
rune,
little bit of a reset.
Of
course,
smoke.
I said we were going to keep taking a look
game.
back up here,
and even
nothing really has changed. Pine is still kind of just bullying the poor side on who's stuck under turret. We do have Fate, who's going to pop the ultimate, is going to go in. Oh, sorry, this is a replay of the last fight. Just really good timing to catch them off guard. Ends up being the 3v2, and they just hard target down this the Seraphine, and Seraphine just really can't do much. Not terribly mobile, so it's kind of stuck in that awkward position.
Yeah, DoV shoots up in the gold, almost a 1k gold lead now between the plates and the bot lane play. They have secured a decent lead. I think the game will probably be decided in this next Drake. If Spire can secure it, I feel like this Olaf is just going to run through the DoV team. But if they're able to stall it out, this Sylas is pretty strong and can make some work happen.
Absolutely. The stall the stun and the wall, both interrupting Smoke's Qs, making it very difficult for them to do anything for the wave, just denying that CS from them. As we do have Drake going to be up in 8 seconds, and both teams posturing. It looks like it is going to be a 4v4. Right now, a 4v3, as Sivir is going to be on the back end, is noticed as they are fighting the minion wave. Drake has been started as Q2 comes in. Yone ult goes wide. There's going to be a big cooldown that just does not land. Drake is getting low, well over halfway. Ultimate coming in from Fade, and that's going to be massive. Encore comes through to at least do a little bit, but the damage, it's actually in favor of Twisted as they're able to find two. Panda Boat is very low. Is Obongo able to do anything? Finds two on the way out, so makes it a 2v2 before falling. So it is going to end up being a 3v2 in the end. Technically, it's still going over to DoV Twisted, but I think both teams are just having to back away. Did either team get the Drake? I don't even know if anyone was able to finish the Drake in that.
Olaf was able to get the dragon secure at the end.
Okay,
but it looked really sus because they got the Drake, but they lost the team fight. Obongo kind of hero plays it and saves it by killing two in the back end. A lot of CC change here. I think the issue on the side of Spire is they didn't have the right target selection, and they also had wasted the Yone R in the rush fight a little bit earlier, so I was able to flash out of it, so they got nothing out of the Yone ult. But I mean, nice comeback, nice cleanup from Obongo to get some kills, get some gold in his pocket. So the play wasn't a complete disaster, and they come out with Drake in the end. They are now down about 1.6k, so that is a bit concerning, even with the objective. But it is 2 Drakes 0 with a scaling comp, so it should pay off eventually.
The biggest problem right now is this Sylas 4, 1, and 2. Obviously, just about 20 CS over at about 1.3 to 1.5k gold favor. Almost all of the gold lead is in the pocket of this Sylas, who's becoming more and more of a problem. Obviously, already has first item, matched up with the Yone, who also has first. So, not crazy in that regard, but just has so much more in terms of supplementary items that are able to kind of help. Obviously, also has that needlessly large rod to give a little bit of damage amp that unfortunately this Yone just does not have.
Yeah, and I wonder what that... and he has a 2-level lead on the Yone as well, but it looks like they're looking to make a play on the Sylas. The Argus interrupted, and if they get the kill on the Sylas, okay, yep, it goes over to Olaf. I was hoping to give it to the Yone so he can at least like bounce back, but shutdown is a shutdown. But they do lose tier 1 mid for that play.
Yeah, so a little bit of extra gold, even though it does cost them the shutdown in the end. Notably, after that second Drake was secured, we do know what the soul is going to be, and it is going to be Infernal. As for Smoke continues to really struggle here, is actually going to get hit by the Q. That could be very dangerous as Panda Boat is in the area, forces out the flash from Pinaholic, who is able to get away by the skin of their teeth. So a little bit sketchy up towards top like this, and Nivea needs to play very safe. So it looks like both teams kind of posturing nearby. I could see a fight breaking out for this Rift Herald as it is started. Smoke, though, very low. Very awkward to start with your top laner being this low, but I don't think there's any vision. Wait, never mind. There is vision. Obviously, there's vision in the pit.
Yeah, but there's no way to reach into the Herald, and they just secured the kill on the bot side there, and they have no tools to fight this. So I think it's fine to just give it. On first tower had already been secured, so I feel like the rift value is not as high. It's probably just going to be used to break one of these tier 1s in the side lane, or just be used as a gauge tool for the next dragon. I am curious what this rod is going to be built for. Mr. Ohio Drive is going to be Zanyas, is going to be Shadow Flame, to possibly a second item, Death Cap. I've seen those before. Either way, he's going to hit like a truck. So I think he's who we should be focusing on in the next fights. I feel like if he gets CC chained and killed at the start of fight, DoV will lose.
Single difficulties. It looks like we had a little bit of OBS crash. I think we tried to get a rage bait redeem in, and OBS did not appreciate that. So we are back underway. A little bit of time has passed. Notably, it looks like a little bit more of a gap has formed between this Yone and Silas. Silas looking like maybe they've gotten one more kill, but Yone catching up now 4-4-2. That mid matchup continuing to be the matchup to watch as Smoke tries to do something in bot lane with Yone present and is just not able to do so, as we do finally see that rage bait redeem as a fight unfolds down on the bot side. Send your IG massive. That's actually very funny, but that is going to be the one redeem for the game. Again, we only have one redeem for the rage bait per game, and I believe you can spend some channel points in order to do so. I believe you have to reach out to, I can't remember who you have to reach out to. I'm usually not the one that does the ad reads. I think Redacted's one of them, so go talk to Redacted if you want to get your rage bait in. I'm throwing it on his shoulders.
Yeah, and it looks like the rod was built into the second item, Zanya's. Makes sense. Double 80 mid jungle from side of Spire, and it looks like what we missed was a dragon fight that ended up going to the way of DoV. They were secured the third Drake. They were able to get the bot lane tower, I assume, with the Rift Herald usage. And I think the biggest winner was the Sivir. She got looks like 4 or 3 kills out of it. She is 4-0-4. So that is pretty big.
Did not even notice that. Yeah, Sivir now very quickly going to become a problem, especially as obviously we've been seeing Smoke kind of struggling here, but is still doing pretty good on the CS, though very far behind the Anivia. But we do have to remember that this is in fact Sion. The later this game goes, obviously, I think Sivir scales a little bit better than Seraphine. I might be incorrect on that, but at least in my opinion, it feels like that's the case, especially if she's 4-0-4. So Sivir's going to scale really well. Obviously, the Silas is as well. And if you wait long enough and let the game go long enough, Sion just becomes a raid boss. So DOVT definitely starting to become more and more scary. They already were with the Silas so far ahead, but now they are starting to get to a spot where they can just become a snowball rolling down the hill at Mach speed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Smoke is taking it like a champ. Yeah, put on tank duty. That's just top lane, you know. If the blind's something, and Sion is still one of the best blinds after the nerfs. And he has 2 really hard matchups, regardless of where he goes, between the Anivia and the Yone.
Sorry, the goal difference between Sivir and Seraphine right now, 10,000 to 7.5. Jeez, that's a lot of gold that is only into the pockets of Sivir, and that's not even the only one. Notably, Anivia has the gold lead up on the top side. It's pretty close in the jungle, but that's about a 1,000 gold lead for the Silas over the Yone. So they have Anivia, and Anivia is probably one of the biggest threats besides the Yone, at least in terms of gold. But right now, DOVT doing really good in the economy game.
Yeah, I mean, the Nivea has two items. She has the Roa, she has the Seraphs. I don't think the Roa is completely stacked, but should be getting close there. Some heavy trading here up in the top lane. Looks like they're threatening a dive on the Nivea. She does have egg though. Burns her flash. That's Nocturne R on the tower. She is still in egg form. I don't think they can go with this with no wave. They might just wait to revive, but looks like Spire is sniffing it out. They have Olaf and Seraphine running top lane. And some heavy trading here in the bot lane too.
Notably, Smoke just kind of tanks it all. Obviously, it's very weak after it, but Abongo's going to tank that turret shot. Unstoppable, but Abongo takes a lot of damage in the end. And here comes Smoke, who is just going to try to run them down, but now stuck between a rock and a hard spot. Comes back in to deal with the Raging Scion. Is going to be able to close out that kill, but Ohio Drive, with that play, the flank is going to be able to close out that fight and get the kill onto their counter lane opponent and continue to put a little bit of a gap between them and Yone.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It ends up being a 1-for-1, but we did commit TP for that, and after that we are chunked out, so the reset for his upcoming dragon again. So I don't know if that was worth at all from the side of DoV.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel like it, as we see a little bit of posturing. 3v2 right now. Olaf is spotted in the area, so you'd imagine this is going to be DoV Twisted sign to definitely start making their way down, as both the top laners are going to continue to put pressure. I mean, Pinaholic is just able to kind of split push without too much repercussions. Notably, no passive available, so that is something that Smoke can play for, as I do hit that. We do see the Drake getting very, very low. It's going to be a bit of a race, and it is stolen by red side. Skyloft is going to come up massive here. Glacial does find one in the trade, makes this very sketchy. Abongo very low, dives into the back line, nowhere to go but back to the fountain, as that ends up being a 1-for-1 fate for Abongo. And that is going to be the Drake, third Drake now for Skyloft, who are now at the continue to put pressure. I mean, Pinaholic is just able to kind of split push without too much repercussions. Notably, no passive available, so that is something that Smoke can play for, as I do hit that. We do see the Drake getting very, very low. It's going to be a bit of a race, and it is stolen by red side. Skyloft is going to come up massive here. Glacial does find one in the trade, makes this very sketchy. Abongo very low, dives into the back line.
Quick blades. I think you need some more damage behind that. Maybe she spikes on. Wow, she doesn't even have IE yet. She opted in for Mortal Reminder. I don't know how I feel about this vegan build from the side of the Seraphine. I feel like with how strong she was, she should have like an IE by now. But she's just kind of just pecking them with some mosquito bites.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Mortal Reminder is a bad idea. Obviously, Grievous is going to be really good, especially when you are facing down the barrel of a Yone as well as an Olaf. But I agree. I definitely think IE probably should have been higher on the prio, because, like you said, the damage is just going to be a little bit lackluster. But luckily, obviously, doing pretty good in the economy, that I think they can take a little bit of a diversion and still not be feeling the hit too hard of, again, 5-0-4, going to be very, very healthy as Panda Boat, and is going to hunt the rest of the team. 4v2 as Seeker and Witch are in a very, very awkward spot. They just have to back away, and that is going to be the red buff stolen away by practically the entirety of DoV Twisted. And now it looks like Obongo might be next up on the chopping block. That is going to be the ultimate invested by Fate. And to dive in, the stolen Yone ultimate is going to find Obongo. Zanya's to disengage the turret, and that is going to be a really nice dive, an expensive one, but a nice dive coming out from the blue side.
Yeah, a bit silly from Obongo. You saw the 4-man core of Spire just bully out your jungler off his red buff. They're in the top side area. You can't probably expect they're either going to go to Baron or to dive you top. I suppose maybe he was expecting his team to cover him, but they were just pushed out. DoV is starter Baron is now getting off to get resets to fix the waves that's coming to their base. Yeah, it's I don't know what that was about. I think it was weird that they didn't get the top lane tower off that. Oh no, they did. Sorry, It was a visual book.
Yeah, definitely getting a little sketchy here, though, for DoVT. Obviously, they're winning the fights, and they are up in terms of gold, though nowhere near as much as they were in the past. The biggest, notably, it's still about a 2.5k gold lead for the Sivir. That's pretty impressive with the fact that it's only about a 1,000 gold lead overall, which means Skyloft has done a really good job of kind of closing that gap in other areas of the map. But while they have been able to get tier 1 turrets, none of the tier 2 have fallen yet for Skyloft. DoV Twisted not able to get any of those secured. Meanwhile, they are bleeding turrets very, very quickly. Both top and mid are now down to their base tier 3. Only the tier 2 on bot lane still exists and is still standing, and it's really only because Sion has been hard farming that lane under turret for the last probably 5 to 10 minutes. With that, Sion has gotten a little bit more of a grasp. Unfortunately, 0-3-2 definitely has been a bit of a rough time, but again, it's Sion. You give them enough time, give them enough items, and sooner or later they'll be a big threat, and we're starting to approach that period of time. But that Sion has also quietly been the only reason why they have a tier 2, as both teams prep for a Drake fight in probably around 30 seconds. A Bongo, are they going to go in on smoke? Not quite yet.
Spellbook's also used. Nocturne R is in.
Okay, that's a big use of ultimate that does not land. Encore comes through, charms up too, and that is going to be a lot of damage. It's not going to be able to fully stun up, but it doesn't matter as the damage is there. They're going to find the Olaf. Ohio Drive going absolutely crazy. 2.0 goes godlike on the Sivir, and they do find the Anivia tanking turret shots in the background, but don't think it really matters. Oh, Bongo, last one standing. This Yone has done a lot of damage and is still doing a lot to smoke, but paired up with the defensive prowess of the Braum makes this a little bit sketchy. Smoke with the shield, it gets a little risky, but that is going to be it as the cleanup is there. The ace goes over to 2.0 on the Sivir, and that is going to be a full sweep 5-0, and they're going to take the Drake off the back of it.
Yeah, just sloppy positioning from the side of Spire. We're just in river looking for a pick, but our Nivea is wave clearing mid lane or walking towards it, so we're just a man down, and we just get instant engaged on with the Nocturne R and completely shredded by the ricochets from Sivir, and that's pretty much what happens. Like, I feel like if you're gonna commit to a play like that, you have to stay and fight. Or you just get touched on the way out. So I think next time they just have to stand their ground and instead of R'ing out with the Yone, R in and look for a combo, and that way we can survive or at least trade it back out. That or have your Nivea be with the team next time, because I feel like the fights that we've been losing these objective timers, Nivea has not been with the team, and I feel like she helps zone DoV quite a bit. As Panda Boat is caught here, might be forced to flash. Nope, just E's out. Or W's out.
Yeah. Really good use of positioning there from the Sivir 2.0, doing exactly what's needed to preserve one of those big cooldowns from their support. Is also going to give plenty of time for that recall to come through. Baron is in play. I don't think we're at the point where a Baron could end the game outright. Maybe if it's the side of Skyloft, but I really don't think Skyloft in our position to really have a say, especially as Sivir. Remember how earlier we were like, oh yeah, no IE yet. This could be bad. You know, mosquito bites not doing a lot of damage. Well, now they got all those items that they had before, plus a full IE. So Sivir 9-0-6 as 2.0 is becoming a big problem here. Ohio Drive taking this 1v1 engage onto a Bongo and is going low early. Zanya's having to be invested. Do they have the combo? Do they have the damage? It's so back and forth, but Obongo is able to close the gap and is able to find the pick. And now this is going to get very sketchy as Skyloft can hit the go button if they really want. They know it's a 5v4 across the map, and both teams are sitting by Baron.
Yeah, there was a very nice hands gap by the side of Obongo. It was very close, but he gets the kill at the end of the day, and now he gets free push. I think his team needs to start hitting Baron here as he hits tier 2. He's getting engaged on by the Scion arm. I think Spire should just run at Baron. They're down a member on the side of DoV, and I feel like they were able to turn really quickly if needed.
Yeah, notably, they're still sitting in the area. I think they just want to find one more. I mean, they're going to go for this cleanup on wave, but I really feel like if they wanted to go for this turn, they should have been already making their way over. Now it's a little bit too late. Ohio Drive is back into the field. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of wasted time, but that is going to be a huge stun up as Panda Boat getting caught out a little bit too far forward, stuns up through the wall, makes this very difficult, but here comes the engage off the back of the Nocturne, but Fate now stuck in the middle of 4, but the damage is going crazy, but here comes the Encore that finds 3. It's back and forth, it is chaotic, but Ohio Drive is still in the area, and so is 2.0, but 2.0 is starting to get really low, finds the triple kill off the back, but finally falls. Pineaholic to find the pick, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with that, as the flash over the wall from Smoke is going to send them into egg form. But with Smoke at Ohio Drive waiting patiently, that is going to be the cleanup there. It's very sketchy, and that's a big shutdown going over to Skyloft off the back of the pick onto the Sivir. But they do win out the team fight as they look for Glacial, who got away in the background.
Wait, how did he get? Okay, sorry. There's a lot of words here that I could be using on this for the side of both these teams.
No,
He was just clearing.
Wow,
He was just clearing mid. He walked into topside jungle instead of walking back to his tier 2. They get potentially chased out by Silence. Okay, that was a bit silly. But that's not the only thing silly. Spire decided to engage, look for a pick in mid lane as the Silas has just respawned. They wasted their Baron timer on the bot push, on the bot side 1v1. So I don't know what they're doing, or maybe they were too afraid to pull the trigger, but they had the tools. They were up a man. We're just making some mistakes here in terms of macro. And now we're here at a soul point for DoV. Soul point for DOP and the soul for Spire. Both teams want this dragon. And I feel like if Spire can't get this dragon now, it's going to be really hard. And Nivi is caught by the Salacy.
Yeah, a lot of engage coming through, and there's a lot of damage coming through as well, and they are just gone. Exploded. Pentakill coming out from 2.0 as he shreds them down to size. They don't need the dragon. They are just going to push, push, push. And with the timers and this wave, I think that's just done and dusted here for game 1.
Yeah, just silly mistakes, and they just keep getting picked at the start of these dragon fights. One person is mispositioned, and they just snap on them with the Nocturne R, and just run them down with Sivir. I mean, in that small choke, sure W is just gonna destroy your team, and as you saw, she got a pentakill as a reward. Very well played from the side of 2 Point.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a bit of a replay here. I mean, we had this early skirmishing back and forth, the bit of a stun of Ohio Drive, who does a really good job of getting into the back line soon after. And there we go. Just so much. That big encore keeps everyone stacked up in one spot. And like you said, the W just shreds through them, as that is going to be defeat or victory. Twist it. Well, for game number 1, it's victory all the way. I don't want to say dominant fashion, but very convincing fashion, as that is a massive win for them to take the lead early in the series.
Yeah, I mean, they were the better team on the Rift. I think they had I think they got outdrafted personally, but they played their champs better. They positioned better. They played on the timers better. I think if Spire can work on some of these mispositions, they could possibly take game two. But at the moment, DoV looks like it's another easy series for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, obviously, again, this is a best of 3 as it has been for the last 7 weeks. So do not go anywhere. We are going to send it over to a brief intermission, let the teams get ready for game number 2, and we'll be back for draft in just a couple of minutes. And we're back. Game number 2 going to be getting underway here in just a moment as they are getting ready for draft. You're just now joining us. My name is Soren. Joining me on the desk is the wonderful guest color caster for the day, Espada, otherwise known as the top laner for XSV Hydra. Espada, thoughts on game number 1, and any thoughts on the first wave of bans? Because, my lord, they are speeding through them here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say much because I don't want to slip up, but Spire played that as bad as possible. They poorly utilized the R5 counterpick on Yone, and we B1 the Lee Sid. Holy, Tien thinks he is Korean or something. My lord. This is a spicy draft already. But once again, it looks like Spire has opted in for the red side. They stuck with their power pick bans for blue, and DoV banned out what I'm assuming are like the one tricks from the side of Spire, Fiddlesticks from Witch, Hui from Obango, and Zeri from Glacial. They responded to Lee Sin with the Ezreal. I wonder if they just slammed the Karma here to get the strong 2v2 pairing.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they did delay getting their ADC pick for, I believe, or excuse me, they did have it in the first wave, but it was kind of still that flex option available with the Seraphine. But they did get it late. I think it was their third pick, so I would not be surprised if they wanted to do the Karma pick just to confirm it. But no, they're gonna instead pick up the Wukong, so they're gonna look for that jungle matchup early and leave that final pick in the first wave of picks to be a possible counter. I mean, it's most likely going to be the support, though I could absolutely see a world in which they leave that for the second wave, as we do see DoV Twisted going to start prioritizing their bot lane as well as that Kaisa hover early.
Yeah, it's probably Kaisa and Nautilus here as 2v2 pairing. Nautilus is pretty good into the Karma if they opt into picking it here. Seeker might want to look for a pop. I think a Poppy angle is actually pretty good here on three. It's pretty good for the matchup. You could leave the Ezreal to his own and roam the map, kind of like what he did on the Leon game 1. But at least Poppy is pretty good into what DoV is showing at the moment. Or he'll just slam the Karma. I wouldn't be surprised about it either. I feel like those are his two choices right now, and he goes for the Rel. Interesting.
Okay, big engage tool coming in. So big engage options. Honestly, for both the jungle and support for both sides here. Obviously, that Lee Sin as well as the Nautilus pairing. And then obviously the Rel and Wukong. Both teams getting a lot of engage tools very early on in this draft as we continue to see, I think, almost the exact same, if not the exact same ban wave. We are in Fearless, obviously. So this is one of those side effects of Fearless. Well, yeah, we get a lot more variation on the actual drafts. Those pick bans become, or excuse me, the bans for pick ban become a lot more typical. They do not change nearly as much as they used to in the old versions of pick ban, but that does still mean that overall we get a lot more variation, as that is going to be the Ahri almost certainly going down the mid lane here for the side of Skyloft.
Yeah, no Silas counter, so this Ahri's pretty good. I wonder how Drive is gonna respond. The Vladimir's not bad. Doesn't have the early game agency as the Ahri roams, but is a monster in the late game. He might just opt into that, and he does. Okay. He's a bit of a late game assurance here, and I mean, he played very well in game 1. He pretty much had Obango's number the entire game outside of that 1v1 late game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes like Flash Ignite and just absolutely rails this matchup. And we get the Orb blind pick here for the side of Smoke, another strong tank blind. So he's probably going to be left all alone on his island to farm it out, suffer whatever egregious matchup we have here from the side of Pinaholic. It's probably going to be the Aatrox. Could be the Xante. Both are pretty good. I don't think he plays anything like the Fiora, the Camille, any of that, or even like the Gwen that could like possibly punish the Ornn. And he opts for the
Oh,
Gnar.
okay. Yeah,
Pretty squishy by the side of Spire, I would say. So that is a bit
yeah.
worrisome.
That is a little bit of a worry. I will say, notably, a lot of disengage tools. Obviously, that Meganar could be used just as much as that disengage is engage. Obviously, the clones for the Wukong, the ultimate for Ari, the E for Ezreal being able to flash away. Rail probably the least mobile, but still has that go in button that could also be used for disengage. So even though they're not quite as tanky as the side of DoV with the Nautilus and the Ornn, there's a lot of disengage and uh you know gap creating almost abilities that will be able to help prevent them from getting into a direct brawl with their opponents. So I don't think it's that big of a problem. Plus, Wukong is known to shred tanks pretty darn well. And Ezreal also could be built to do a lot of damage to tanks. So they could really punish this Ornn if they would like to go down that route, which I imagine they probably will, because that Ornn is going to be kind of the protector of the entirety of the back line, though Kaisa and Lee Sin are both going to want to go in and be a little bit more aggressive as well. So I like both compositions here, though. I think I'm leaning towards Skyloft, even though they're lacking a little bit of tankage. I think they are looking really good.
Yeah, on paper, both these teams are pretty similar. With like what they have in champ pool, they both have good engage between Ornn and Nautilus versus the Rel and Wukong. They have good pick as well with Lee Sin and Kaisa, same with Nautilus, as well as the Rel, Ari, and Wukong. I think the one X factor is just gonna be that Vladimir. I don't see how Spire can deal with a 2.5 item Vladimir with Ghost and Flash is running your team down, and you can't even touch him once he goes into his blood pool. So I think if they don't get an early lead in this comp, it's just a DOVW, I fear.
Yeah, I think the scaling options also are a little bit more favorable towards DoV. While it doesn't really feel like there's many hyperscalers in this game, the fact that the ornaments are going to be a factor once we get to a certain point in the game could be a big decider as we get to that late mid game into that late game. So that is going to be something that we also keep an eye on. It definitely does feel like there's a little bit of a time limit on the window of possibility for a win for Skyloft, but we will have to wait and see. That is the look of both teams coming out of draft. We are going to send it over to a quick break to let spectator delay do its thing. When we are back, we're going to be getting right into the action of game number 2 between DoV Twisted and Skyloft Spire. You won't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. And we are into game number 2, and we're already seeing a little bit of a change up here as a 3-man dive into the red side jungle. Not going to find any players to actually hunt down or go for any sneaky picks, but it is going to get a lot of vision at least, which is going to give away the location of the starting position of Witch Hat. So that is going to be useful information to DoV twist it early on, as we see both bot laners once again not hiding. They are just going to be in the midst and probably looking for a little bit of action, as both supports are melee.
Yeah, and we see some early trading here in the mid lane. Vladimir took the Ghost. He took Ghost and he took Conqueror. So better see some heal cut in these fights. And we got a hook in on the rail, some nice little love taps from bot lane. I don't see how this 2v2 from the side of Spire can actually punish or fight back against the Kaisa and Nautilus on the side of DoV. Maybe they can get an outplay, but I think DoV is just going to have control over this lane the entire game as we get another hook in.
Yeah, a little bit of engage coming in here. Seeker is able to get the stun up onto the Kaisa, but only for a little bit and does not do a lot of damage. And in turn, Pandaboat takes a lot as they are having to use pots early just to exist in lane. Also, the biscuits as well, just to try to stay in for a little bit longer, as that bot lane is going to be under control of Spire here, at least for a little bit, as we see the wet noodle fight up on the top side as Pinaholic and Smoke go at it. This should be a much better matchup for Smoke, though is still going to be rough. As I say that, it's immediately going to be solo bolo kill going over to Pinaholic. Yeah, maybe that was a caster curse. That one's on me, Smoke. That one's on me.
No, that one's entirely on Smoke. He decides to face tank the midi Gnar, the Gnar coming out of Mega Gnar. Hit the wall up and then gets attacked by the Lethal Temple fully stacked midi Gnar and face tanks a full wave and a half. That was entirely on the Ord. I think if he just played it slowly, he could have frozen the wave on the Gnar. His wave was coming in, but he opts to just face tank all that and die and gives the early lead in what is already a hard matchup. And he also, egregious, he took Grasp in this matchup. I'm a bit of a Ornn OTP myself, and he deserves to lose his matchup. He did not go the Airy Tech, which is illegal IMO.
Ooh, big words coming out from Espada. So, have to wait and see if they end up coming true, and if this ends up being a pretty bad matchup and laning existence here for Smoke, as they are now just getting back into the action up on top side. Just going to try to exist for a little bit, but Pinaholic has so much disengage and so much range, it is going to be difficult for them to exist. Meanwhile, first wave of clears fully completed for both junglers, as we do see the first scuttle secured. It is going to be by the Wukong, who is going to be making their way up the top side. Smoke, oh no, you have to be a little bit careful here. Dives in, goes a little bit wide. Clone utilized, as there is going to be 2 in the area. And that is going to be everyone getting out and just a few cooldowns to work through for both sides, but nothing too expensive.
Yeah, I don't know if Tien is embodying the blind monk, but he completely skipped the bot side scuttle to contest the Wukong, who was already hitting the top side scuttle, which means Wukong is gonna double crab him once again. I don't know how I feel about that, as we see an all in by the Gnar on top of the Ornn. He does get out with his E, so he doesn't get traded on too poorly here, and he gets the wave in a decent spot. Looks like a slow push out though, so he might need some help to get this back out. As bot lane is a farm fest, mid lane is a farm fest. I want to see some more proactive plays by the Lee Sin. I know he tried doing that top side, but I don't think you should be playing towards the side of your Ord who got solo killed. So hopefully we get some action here around this first dragon. As Pinaholic jumps in, he takes a tower shot.
Yeah, he needs to be careful now. Very sketchy. Yeah, has to play this a little bit more patiently. Definitely risky a little bit as Smokey's going to pop the ultimate double hit, and that is going to be Smoke punishing Pineaholic for a little bit of a misplay. A little bit overzealous as the Gnar, and it gets punished hard.
Yeah, and that's the early lead by Dinar completely thrown out. Yeah, I don't know what both these top laners are doing. We took a random trade tank tower. We hit 6, but we weren't even building Meganar to trade back. And then Ornn hits ult for free, lands it for free, didn't even talk to Flash, and that's just a kill over to the side of the Ornn, who built a chain vest instead of a bramble. Interesting.
Alrighty. Is going to be very sketchy now. Top side equaling out just a little bit. Still a little bit of extra gold into the pocket of the Gnar, so a little bit of a lead in that regard, but nothing too crazy as the gold starting to grow in favor of Spire here. Just about a 500, almost 600 gold gap between the two teams. Nothing too crazy at this point in the game, but definitely not an amazing start for DoV Twisted.
Yeah.
As they are now winning. Or excuse me, they are now kind of losing 2 lanes.
They get a free dragon here too, as the Ornn W's the Mega Gnar ult. This game state is perplexing. I don't know how Wukong is hitting 6 on the same timer as the Lee Sin. Lee Sin giving up 2 crabs. Lee Sin giving up the first dragon with this bot lane. We are able to get a punish here on the Gnar. Gets his flash, doesn't get the kill, but yeah. A bunch of nothing burger plays at the moment.
Yeah, Pineaholic having to use that long cooldown just to be able to get out with their life. Level 6, like you said, finding its way across the rift now as that True Shot Barrage is able to help clear out this wave pretty quickly. It forces out the stall onto the back of the bot laners for DOVT. As we do see Ohio Drive struggling a little bit. Yeah, Obongo doing a lot better in this current matchup and is punishing the Vladimir pretty hard.
Yeah, and I don't know how to Lee Sin is down so many camps. Maybe he just isn't as good as pathing as Witch is. We saw this in game 1 as well. It just seemed like Tien was overly relying on his on his laners to be better. But yeah, I don't see much value from this B1 Lee Sin. Haven't seen any like early ganks that actually worked. We lost the first objective. We're down camps. So I'm not seeing the value in this B1 Lee Sin. As some fight over the grubs is happening. Nautilus is caught out here. But he does walk
kind of boat. Getting caught up, but this is going to be a full engage, and that is going to be a double hit on the Seeker, who's very low smoke, finds the pick, and here comes the full engage. A lot of low health bars here coming out from the side of Spire, so despite the fact that they get 1, they have to back away, they have to respect it, but Ohio Drive and Smoke not willing to let them get away from free, and that is going to be them pushed back under a turret. Notably, 1 grub was secured there by Spire as Ohio Drive, maybe trying to look for a punish onto Obongo, but maybe too far out as Pineaholic hasn't gone anywhere quite yet, but Panda Boat's back into the area. Pineaholic is gone. The drag back. Obongo, you're not allowed to leave quite yet, but here comes Seeker, already respawned to clean up a possibility. Fate now also getting back into the mix. Exhaust used, pulled back in. Seeker, not long for the world. Bye-bye. You're gone, but now here comes Witch. All those respawn timers have run through, and it is chaos on mid lane, but in the end, DOVT win the trades, and they get the secure, ending up with just a little bit more of an advantage.
Yeah, a bit of greed or overplaying from both these teams, as the Spire overplayed in the topside river on the grubs. They went a bit too deep and got punished for it. And then DoV gifted back a kill or 2 in the mid lane, and then got instantly punished again once the respawns came in by DoV. So Just pure chaos on the Rift at the moment. A nice charm there, some left taps by the Ari, but this Vladimir picked up 3 kills and an assist, and this is what I was talking about earlier in the draft. It's really much on the Vladimir to kind of carry, and they gave him 3 kills. The champion that needed scaling got free scaling, so this game is much harder for the side of Spire.
Yeah, notably they're still low on CS, so that's going to be some consolation as we do that drag in and both the engage. But fortunately, there's just not enough follow up, so that is going to be it. Just the engage. Meanwhile, mid lane now a lot more even. Topside smoke also very quietly becoming a problem, but Ohio, oh, that's a lot of damage out to Obongo all at once. Can they find it? Obongo is able to get the combo off and is able to find the kill. Meanwhile, up on topside, smoke closing the gap and is now taking control of that topside.
Yeah, nice solo
missed opportunity in mid there
by Obongo. He gets a nice fat shutdown. Gnar gets solo killed in his counter pick again, which is a bit disturbing. The game is falling apart for Spire. There are some signs of life, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I mean, Smoke now actually doing rather well. 3-2-2 is going to be able to get this first tower play as well. So a little bit of extra gold into pocket. Second Drake is going to be up here. Both teams kind of in the area. I mean, Lee Sin's not particularly. Ohio Drive, though, taking a lot of damage from Obongo, who's very quietly doing very well. Already has Grievous Wounds item to help mitigate the amount of healing that this Vladimir is able to produce. Lee Sin's in the area, though, if they are able to find a sneaky angle. But right now, multiple lanes in favor of Skyloft, as they are looking to get a little bit of control of the map in general, as they are also in the Dragon Pit. I'm assuming they're just going to try to take that before anyone has a means to say anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, first items are looking to be completed on Ezreal, Ari, Kaisa, Lee Sin, and the Wukong. Oh, as well as top lane. No first item for the Vladimir yet, but it looks like he is going for that Proto Belt. That's the second Drake secured by the side of Spire. This game is I'm getting deja vu vibes from this game and last, and we just waste pool to get 2 minions. Okay. A lot of interesting things that are happening. But, yeah, first item we went unending despair against Gnar. I gotta send Smoke macros itemization guide, because these are not working. Holy.
Yeah, notably, just going to play a ward down for it to get taken. Both sides, actually, as it's a little bit of a scuffle up on the top side, but it's a full-on brawl down on the bottom side, as that's a lot of damage. Wukong forced back a little bit. Meanwhile, up on the top side, Panaholic is taking the fight and taking control of it, and that is going to be 1 kill. Panda vote is going to fall. Smoke as well. 2 members of DoVT now down and out. Here comes Ohio Drive, who does a lot of damage out to Seeker, but the numbers advantage is not into their favor. Goes into the pool to try to survive, but they do not have the damage to make a difference, and Fate has to just sit and watch as multiple members of their team fall. And now it is starting to look a little sketchy for this DoV Twisted side, as Skyloft getting a good control of the map now.
Yeah, just dumpster fire across the map for the side of DoV. The top laner got solo boloed by Gnar. He gets a couple plays for himself. Bot lane, Ari gets the first roam out from shoving out mid, gets a killer response, and the Vladimir, instead of looking to free scale and play for a plate and get the wave in, he opts in to mash the roam, gets killed, CC shade, and loses out on mid lane gold. So a bunch of just intriguing plays that are happening across the map. I think DoV had really good control over the map, and it's just slipping away from them. We're just doing too much. We're thinking too hard. Like, let's just go back to the basics, please.
Yeah. Absolutely here as we just see Ohio struggling a little bit in this mid lane, especially now as Seeker is in the area. Panda Boat and Fate both as well, and they're going to try to go in, but the kickback is actually going to force them back into safety, and that is just going to be a bit of a misplay here as that dive is unsuccessful in the mid lane.
Yeah, we just traded ours, Ari and Relar for both Lee Sin and Vladimir's. And after trading that, we're opting in for this Herald. But I think Spire can contest this. Wukong is topside. He's basing though, but I feel like they can look to fight them, knowing that DoV has no Rs to respond.
Ooh. Hook in, that is going to find Witch, so it's going to help deter this a little bit. Fate has to get the smite, will be able to do so, picks up the Rift Herald, but now here comes the possible cleanup. There's a lot of low health bars for DoVT. Can they survive? Can they kill through? Pineaholic is actually found. That's massive, but that's going to be the double Obongo to get it, and that is going to be devastating. I think it's a triple here for this. No, excuse me, it's a double kill and two double kills, one for a bongo, one for the Gnar Pineaholic. That is very, very sketchy. That is rough looking for Twisted. Skyloft, they are now fully in control and dominating the map, and that's going to be the tier 1 down on top side going to be falling. First turret gold going their way, and the mid lane tier 1 is very soon to follow as well.
Yeah, once again, a bit of a misplay. Like I said, we wasted our R's on a failed gank mid, and we opted straight into Rift. They did secure Rift, but they were instantly punished and lost 4 members for it. So I don't know what DoV is like looking to do. I think right now they need to reel it back in, let the Vladimir get some breathing room to scale up, because right now he is down a lot of gold. He's down 30 CS, he's down 2 levels. I mean, this already has 4 kills and 4 assists on him, so I'm assuming the gold lead is around like 2k in the mid lane. So they need this Vladimir to just relax and stop matching these Ari plays.
Absolutely. As next Drake is up again, it's going to be the Infernal Soul. As the DoVT try to take an advantage here, they know they really can't do anything against this Drake, so they are going to use the Rift Herald to put as much pressure on this top side as possible. But on top of being able to get that Drake, they're also almost certainly going to get the tier 1 down on bot side, and they only get the tier 1 on top side, so this is definitely not looking amazing for DoVT. His Ohio Drive is just not even able to walk through their own jungle. Has to flash to just try to survive. Not going to be able to do so. The TP might be a little bit too late. Witchat is in the area, is low. Gets hit by the Ornn. Massive airborne, but does Ornn have enough speed to catch up?
Oh,
they
no.
won't. And so much investment for nothing there. Oh,
it's disaster on the
not
map.
Good. It's
we got the kill. We got the kill on the Vladimir for free. We got the ulti from Ornn for free. We got the TP for free. With the flash for free, and all it took was the double ult from Wukong and Ari and his flash, and he gets out unpunished. Huge win for the side of Spire. They look completely locked in this game compared to last.
Yeah, very different story this time around. Now we need to see something big coming out from Twisted if we want to see this get ended in 2-0 fashion. If you're a Twisted fan, it is getting a little scary, especially as there's not really been any major objective secured. Only that one Rift Herald that was helped to get the top tier 1, but besides that, everything else has gone the way of Skyloft. All 3 grubs, 3 Drakes as well. So, 3 in and they're already at soul point. This could be very scary, as very quickly the window of opportunity for Twisted is starting to close. Baron is going to open up and become available on the map, but Doubt either team is going to go for it. I don't think anyone has enough damage to burst through it quite yet, and it's going to be very expensive for either team if they want to try. So Bongo might be in a position to get dove on, possibly, as Ohio Drive continues to hit the go button, but we'll eventually have to back away. But now here comes the cavalry from Skyloft. A little bit of a skirmish up on the top side, but I think in the end, everyone's just going to back away, or at least up on top side. Poor Smoke has to back away onto the turret in order just to not die.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing heavily towards this Vladimir side, making sure he can get his waves, and looking to possibly pick anyone else, pick out anyone that can is trying to match him. They had a good look on the Ari, but it comes out to nothing. Whoa. Ambitious Flash R by Narder. I don't even think the Ornn was in range to get stunned at all, but I mean, ambitious. I'll say that. But now he won't have that for the upcoming drag fight or the possible Baron start. I feel like Spire is strong enough to bait out a Baron play here. Wukong is caught, kicked back, is clothing out and running out top. But it looks like the Kai'Sa is chasing him out and gets a kill.
Okay, we're seeing signs of life here. That is massive as TP comes through. Pineaholic has to immediately back away as that charm comes through, finds Fate. But Obongo, playing this smart, obviously already popped that ultimate, so is going to use it for the disengage and a little bit of reposition. Pineaholic almost gets caught up by that hook, not able to be found, however, is maybe a play here for a fight outside of Baron. It's getting a little sketchy as both teams showing a lot of presence so far.
Yeah, nice pick. That was just ended up being picked. It didn't even like translate to a Baron start or whatnot. I feel like with that pick we should have gotten something else, maybe some vision laid down for Baron, but it looked like they just took the kill and just went back to normal laning. So it's a bit interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, as it has slowed down quite a bit. Obviously, a lot of small skirmishes and a little bit of damage trading, but no real big fights, which has kind of been how Skyloft have been able to get this lead. A lot of aggressive plays and punishing plays onto any missteps from Twisted. Possibly a similar story here as Ohio Drive caught out, but is able to go into the pool to save themselves. The flanking Ornn is going to find Seeker, and oh no, this is looking a little shaky here for Skyloft. There's less than 10 seconds up until the Drake, the one that would be soul for them. Are they going to back away? Are they going to try to fight for this? They don't particularly need it, but they might just want it. They know they have the advantage, but they're down a member.
Yeah, looks like they're looking to contest it. Nar is building up Mega, so he's looking for a nice R angle. I think they are strong enough to still contest. Nar gets 2-man, only knocks stuns 2 people. It's a bit nothing right now. Wukong secures the Infernal Soul.
Yeah, that's massive as the damage is just coming through, and Obongo is able to do so much, and with the resetting ult is just going to be able to run them down. Smoke has almost nothing left. The True Shot Barrage goes just a little bit wide, but that gap close is too much. Triple going over to the mid laner, and that... I don't think it's over quite yet, but it's certainly looking more like it as we see that steal come out. It is secured by red side. That makes soul, and there's now just too much damage coming out from the Ari, and they just clean up everyone who's left standing after the fight.
Yeah, it was a nice steal from Witcher Backblast. He gets in range to E. The Lee Sin has the reaction time of a wall and misses and and kicks him after the Wukong secures the dragon. So they don't even get the kill on the Wukong right away. And then the Ari, who's on Shadow Flame Malignance, completely shreds through the team. He actually ulted twice in the span of 20 seconds there, like 20 or 15 seconds there, which is disgusting. To secure like what was I think a unofficial quadra kill I want to say.
Yeah.
So his
Think
Ari is
so.
very strong. 3 items now, 2 items on the Gnar, 2 items on the Wukong. Oh, uh, I was gonna see. Three. Yep, 3 items on the Ezreal. He was deciding between Shojin or Endless Hunger. As the Ari's all inning the Vladimir in the bot lane here. I think it's just gonna end up being nothing. As the Vladimir should just be able to walk out.
Yeah, you'd imagine, but that's a very low health bar. And okay,
Never mind.
okay, never mind. That might be a
You get
mental
completely
boom scenario. As the fight on mid unfolds, and this might just be it, folks. We do see the Ornn call in, and it's just not gonna really do anything. As with 2 members down, Skyloft are gonna say, "Hey, this Baron is up, and it is looking rather tasty. Maybe it's time for us to take a bite and start wearing purple, because there is just absolutely nothing Twisted can do to interrupt it. I mean, it's a slow take, but I mean, even if they tried, they would just end up losing overall in the end. So everyone's gonna wear purple, unified back coming through, and now it is getting very scary. 3 minutes on the clock till Elder. Until then, you'd imagine the siege is going to be a big problem for Twisted.
Yeah. I mean, 8k gold lead on the side of Spire. They won in both mid, they won in bot, and that's just ended up securing them Baron. They should just play off mid and top here, break that last tier 2 top lane, crack open that mid lane, which opens up the rest of the map later on. This isn't like a end angle with the Baron, more just opening the map. But I mean, if they get another good fight on these 2 lanes, then they could look to end. Because right now, DoV is in no position to contest whatsoever. These jungle camps are Spires, these waves are Spires, and eventually these towers are Spires. So they got to be really careful. This Ari will 2-shot someone with her current build.
It's less so that they cannot end, and more so that as of right now, they should not be able to end. But one misplay, some poor positioning, a team fight that does not go the way of Twisted, and they very well could, because, man, right now, everyone is so advanced. 9-0-6, by the way, right now, is Obongo. Took that last game personally, and I mean, the siege is just so clean. They're obviously super focused on this mid lane presence, as it is a 4v4, but Smoke struggling to deal with the super minions that are, or excuse me, not super minions, but the Baron buff minions that are just doing so much damage from close range. Yeah, this is a rough position. Tier 3 for both mid and top, extremely low, hanging on by a single plate and some thread right now.
Yeah, and this has to be the squishiest Ornn I've ever seen in my life. Unending Despair into Abyssal Mask. This tank is not taking anything. He might as well just be a cannon minion at this point. It's a bit rough. As mid tier 3 should come down here in a bit. The cannon should kill it here in like 2 shots. And if they wanted to, Spire could just look to engage with how low the Ornn was.
Especially with Pinaholic also being able to secure that tier 3 turret, and everyone goes to deal with the Gnar, and that means that there's a push up and damage done to the inhibitor. And this is the problem of dealing with a Baron so early. It becomes very difficult, almost untenable for them to really have control even in their own base. And after all of that, Baron buff is going to be fading away in just a couple of seconds here, just in time for a potential fight for Elder. Now, the last fight with the Baron definitely was not the angle in which the game would end. It could, but it was not. Now, if we do see another team fight that just goes so heavily the way of Skyloft here for this Elder, and they secure it, it could very well be the end. And both teams are throwing everything at it, including the kitchen sink, as one member from DOTV does fall. But here comes a little bit of cleanup here. Oh, but that is so much damage as the Mega Gnar sends 2 into the wall, and now 2.0 making magic in game number 1, ending on the pentakill, tries to do something, tries to find anything in their hat. But there's no magic left in the tank, and that is going to be a full sweep. They have the wave behind them. They have the damage. No Elder buff needed. They are going to close this out sub 31 minutes and send us into game number 3.
Yeah, much cleaner game from the side of Spire. This time, DoV were the ones that were caught out before the objective. A nice look by Rel to get the 2-man there, flanked by the Ari, able to two-shot the Aura and Nautilus there, both the engage tools, and then this absolutely clean up. And the Nord came from behind DoV to get a nice 2-man stun to wrap the game up. So, a much cleaner game, much cleaner execution, better comp once again by the side of Spire. Their early game was a bit suspect, but they fleshed it out in the mid to late. So very well played from them.
Yeah, absolutely incredible gameplay from them to lock in a third game here. Again, this match does have a lot of implications for the gauntlet, a decider on whether or not some teams end up playing both a best of 1 and a best of 3 right before playoffs, or if they just get to go through the best of 3 gauntlet. So a lot still on the line here as we are going to send it over to a quick break before we get into game. Don't go anywhere. The climax of this series is just around the corner. We'll be back in a few.
Wolves asleep amidst the trees. Bats all asleep in the breeze. But one soul lies anxious wide awake. Fearing no man whose hearts are raised.
Game number 3. We are already getting into it, Espada. We already have it's the exact same bands that we've seen so far in the last 2 series, or 2 games in the series. So nothing too surprising, but teams are ready and eager to get into actually change up. I don't think Trundle has been the 3rd ban, has it?
It has not. It's been Fiddlesticks, actually. DoV
Hey.
is on red side this time, and Spire is on red side.
Okay. So that's interesting. Giving up the fiddlesticks. I'd imagine that's kind of almost a taunt because obviously Skyloft do have first pick. So they're saying, hey, it's open to you. Play if you want it. We have an answer. And Skyloft are saying, we're not going to change up our strategy. They do not go for the option. They instead pick up the Senna early, obviously growing into the meta quite strong right now. Could be like a Tom Kench angle as we see Smoke, or excuse me, not Smoke particularly, but the team DoV twist it is going to pick up the Ziggs, who's technically a flex, could go either as the APC down in bot lane or in mid.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna. They're just matching the late game scaling of the Senna. This
Yeah.
pick is like still pretty strong even after the nerf, after the DFT changes, right? To that and Black Cleaver. So yeah, she's just a still strong pick. Has strong pairings in the bot lane. Normally you'd see like car counters or like Tristana, but maybe 2 Point doesn't play it, so he opts into the Ziggs that plays pretty well. Poke is really good against Senna, so I think this is the first time I've seen him play it though. I'm not sure if he was a mage player, and they opted for the Xin Zhao, which the Trundle ban now makes sense. I wonder if Witch of Black Mass is gonna answer with Fiddlesticks or potentially a Jax counterpick. Also, Zaheen is pretty good into Xin Zhao from what I've heard. So all these 3 picks are up in the air. The option for the Maokai could be support, could be jungle.
Yeah. I think a little bit of a flex there. I personally see that as more of a support right now. I think, like you said, there's a lot better options in the jungle to kind of counteract the Xin Zhao pick. So if I was Skyloft, I think that's a really good move. Obviously, does pair well with the Senna, but also is flexible enough that they could pivot off if they end up needing to. Meanwhile, 3rd pick going to be delayed a little bit, and it's actually going to be the Victor. Okay, typically that is the first pick, or excuse me, the first ban coming out from the side of DOVT in the 2nd wave, and they're just going to say, yeah, we're going to give up on trying to get our jungler early. We're going to lock in this Victor and get some real hyperscaling. Between Senna and Victor, this team is looking like it could be a real problem late game if they let it get late.
Yeah, but I mean, DOV is answering, and if they lock in the Zeref, they have a crazy poke comp here. Zeref is one of Victor's worst matchups that I've seen. So if the Zeref goes untouched, it's gonna be really powerful here. And I mean, the story of this whole series has just been the mid laners, right? Whoever had the better matchup, whoever's been playing better. Game 1, Ohio Drive had Obongo's number in the Silas versus Yone. Game 2, Obongo actually came back for vengeance and destroyed Ohio Drive in the Ari versus Vladimir matchup. And now both of them are playing more like reserved picks, mages. You have your standard battle mage in Victor versus the poke in Seraph. So this one's a bit less exciting, but I think it's interesting to see how both these guys impact the team fights.
Yeah. And we are getting to see a little bit of a change in the 2nd wave of bans. Obviously, jungler is still available for Skyloft, so that's becoming a little bit more of prio. And actually, with that Alistair ban, I do think that they maybe are expecting that Maokai could be either still. So they ban 1 jungler and they ban 1 support away to either a really strong pick for that particular jungler, which at Black Mass. Or just trying to ban away one of the better options for Senna. So I think it's really good. Meanwhile, it is just top lane. heavy top lane focus coming out from Skyloft, trying to limit that pool even more. You'd imagine top lane is going to end up being the R5, get a little bit of a counter play available to them. Because I doubt they're going to save the support pick unless they go something crazy and it's Xerath support or something of that nature. But you'd imagine that's not going to be the case, as it is going to be Mundo.
You know what? I think that makes sense. Given that Spire banned both Garen and the Gwen. Gwen's like one of Mundo's hardest matchups. The Atrix is still up, so it's not like all his counters are out. But this is like Smoke's count. This is like Smoke's comfort. I was gonna say they might just pick. They were gonna pick Cassante on the side of Spire because those are two Cassante like counter picks, both Gwen and Garen. But the Nefiri is interesting. I wonder if this is also a flex. I've seen some Nefiri top lane. I'm not sure if Witch plays it at all. Jungle possibly can, but I mean we'll find out soon enough here in their last pick. Nefiri top isn't completely unheard of, but it doesn't seem good into Mundo at all. So we'll see what the counter is. I'm expecting like an Aatrox here or another. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. So, yeah, so that's going to be top lane secured. So that is going to end up being a Maokai in the support role with a Senna as the ADC, Victor in the mid lane. It is going to be a jungle Nefiri plus the Aatrox up on the top side. Final pick here, R5, typically reserved for a counter. I mean, now they do know the full composition, so they're going to have a little bit more comfort. But really, the only thing that's left is maybe a support pick again, unless they pull out something crazy. Okay, it is going to end up being support. It's going to be support Poppy making an appearance. So, pretty good disengage tool and just another big tank to be a bit of a meat wall to protect the squishy but very strong artillery mages in the looks of Xerath and Ziggs.
Yeah, Poppy's really good into Nefiri specifically. I mean, Nefiri like is looking to dive in on the two poke champs of the Ziggs disappeared on the Ziggs and the Xerath. The Poppy will give some more safety there. But that's just kind of where the Poppy value ends, right? It doesn't really stop the twisting advance from the Maokai. He burrows down, is like unstoppable and still like can CC you. So it's not really a counter for anything other than the Fury looking to a one shot your two poke mages. So I think it's a hard game for the side of DoV. I do think Spire once again has the better cohesive comp. But who knows? They do have the Xerath counter pick. They do have the Ziggs, a lot of poke coming out, and they aren't the squishiest. They aren't the healthiest team on the side of Spire. So maybe they'll put in some work.
Absolutely. As we take one final look at some of these compositions again, it is going to be a pretty good one. I do think I agree with you. I like the composition for Spire just a little bit more. Skyloft, I think, a little bit more overall well-rounded. Obviously, a little bit more early game pressure with that Nefiri and Aatrox with some really good hyper-scaling options of the Victor as well as that Senna. A lot of tankiness, the ability to get in deep and into the backline within the Nefiri. So overall, I think that composition, I do lean towards it a little bit more. But with all that being said, of course, spectator delay, you know it, you hate it. We all have to deal with it. We are going to send it over to one last quick intermission before we get into the final game of this series. Do not go anywhere. You will not want to miss it. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We are getting into it, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 here in this rescheduled week 7 matchup between Skyloft, Spire, and DoV Twisted. We see a little bit of a change up here. Obviously, for the first time this series, we have Twisted on the red side, and we have Smoke playing a little aggressive here, catching out Pineaholic as both top laners are leaning towards this blue side jungle, and actually a little bit of invade coming through, forcing the flash early from Pineaholic, and is going to be an invade to take that blue side blue buff. That is going to be massive, but that does leave Ziggs alone down on the bot side.
Yeah, I think split map is smart here. After all, you have Ziggs. He can easily farm. He has TP to be safe. Splitting map to play and relieve pressure from this Aatrox Mundo lane is very well played.
Yeah, absolutely. As we do actually see a little bit of an interruption here, and this actually is kind of perfect. I mean, the Fury is pushed off and away. Meanwhile, that blue buff was secured, and the Fury having to kind of reassess what and how they are going to proceed. Though only the blue buff was taken. Now we're going to have a little bit of a scuffle by the Raptors here. Meanwhile, we have a little bit of chaos down on bot side as it looks like Skyloft doing pretty good and are hoping to crash this wave here.
Yeah, it was so weird. Because I think I think DoV won out on the top side invade, but then the Zen Zhao completely botched it by doing a level 2 gank mid instead of doing his own camps. It was an even bigger W when the Fury got pushed off his blue buff. And I mean, once again, Spire completely botched it again by getting pushed out of Zizal's red side jungle and has to farm his Gromp. So both jugglers' tempo art is fucked, but the Fury's is more screwed up. So I think overall a big W for the side of DoV.
Yeah, absolutely. And notably, that blue buff was not taken. So even after all that chaos, the Xin Zhao is going to be a camp ahead. So that is going to be at least one benefit. Then the Fury is going to get the scuttle as a little bit of compensation. So overall, it's not the end of the world, but definitely is going to be leaning towards the Xin Zhao, who's going to have a little bit of advantage. But it might be going hunting. No, it's just going to back away. Go for the recall, probably get a component, and then go for that bottom side clear. Maybe try to fight for a scuttle here, as we see a lot of skirmishing happening on this top side. I mean, between Aatrox and Mundo, expecting to see a lot of wet noodle fights, or both of them just try to play for some early aggression. Meanwhile, right now, Miss Mid Lane is all one-sided. Victor reigns supreme. Evolution at its finest is forcing Xerath back and away.
Yeah, Obongo's winning out this counter matchup pretty well. So maybe counter picks are just fake between these two teams. I wonder if Zizal's gonna finally get his first scuttle the series, and looks like he did this. The Fury wasn't able to double scuttle him with how botched the early game pathing went. Maybe that's all it took. It took a split map, it took an invade for TN to path like a human. So hopefully we can see more impact from him this game. But yeah, it looks like resets are coming in for mid lane. We just TP'd. Zerf TP'd, and it looks like the base again. Nope, never mind. He just interrupted it. Looks like we're just farming. Bit of a farm fest. Not as much excitement as the last few games, as both these teams heavily rely on item spikes and scaling. So we should expect the first fight maybe around the first dragon timer, as Poppy is ganking mid, possibly.
Yeah, notably, first dragon timer is up. Poppy is going to be spotted, but there's really nothing that they can do. Just a little bit of a step forward. Is going to get shot, but nothing too crazy, as this Poppy is roaming quite a bit here. Like you said, there's still a lot of protection for Ziggs. Ziggs is nowhere near in a bad position, but notably, bad position may include Pineaholic, as don't know if they're aware that they have 3 people waiting for the jump, but is playing passive nonetheless. Is going to do a pretty darn good job. Just has to be too careful. You can tell that there's a little bit of reservation, but here we go. World Ender is popped as a means. We have the artillery coming in from downtown, and there is nothing you can do in what is essentially the 4v1. That is Pineaholic going down. Smoke going to get a little bit of an advantage in lane, but it's going to cost them the Drake as that is secured down on bot side, seeing as there's just so much pressure onto this lone Ziggs.
Yeah, I mean, here's the punish on the Xin Zhao, or sorry, punish on the Aatrox flash timer. Really good. Panda looking to impact the map, like I said, he needed to based on the bot lane matchup. The wave is just in a bad spot for. Actually, this isn't really bad. He just oversteps and gets punished for it. Exhausted into the Poppy Vanguard and Chain CC'd. So, really good gank from Poppy. So, yeah. As we're pressuring the top side again, Poppy is still in the area to secure the blue buff and the Scuttle Crab for Xin Zhao.
Yeah, Poppy is just not leaving. Now, 2 levels behind the Malachi, but at least is still getting some good value when they can. It's actually going to be a level up to 4. Notably, no grubs or major objective to play for quite yet. So we're going to see the Xin Zhao go for the recall, as they do have about a 500 gold lead over the Neferi. So they're going to try to get a few components and just try to give them a little bit of a boost for what will essentially be the next big fight. Again, probably over the grubs. And then, I mean, Drake is going to be taken, or still has a timer of about 3 minutes and 40 seconds, as that was a very quick take coming out from Skyloft. But yeah, Grub's going to be the next big thing up on the menu. It's still going to be a couple minutes away, though.
Yeah, and we missed the top lane, but Aatrox burned his Ignite for the Mundo Ghost, so traded sums there. Interesting as well, the jungle matchup, they're both even in camps, as Maokai is ganking mid, burns the flash from the Xerath, and that's it. Pretty good look from Seeker there. As Aatrox is about to get run down here. It might be a solo kill for the Mundo, but the Aatrox is just lifestealing. He ease in, and just might still be a kill. He gets tired though, gets ulted, and is that a trade? No, he just walks out barely.
It barely walks out, but there is a scuffle down by mid lane in the river. And, Panda Bow getting very low is going to eventually be found. Fate also going to return back to the fountain and make that a double kill onto the dog, the Fury, to find 2 in the mix. Witch Hat is going to be able to find a lot. Meanwhile, we do see that top side. Yeah, that did end up going the way of Smoke. Not even a trade. I mean, grubs were just being started, and there's a little bit of a forced interrupt, but in the end, it ends up just being way too costly, and Twisted overextend and do not have the firepower behind them in order to take the fight, and they try to push back the 3 players with just 3, and they immediately get swept up in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, Aatrox completely killed himself in that 1v1. He was out if he just E'd out, but he opts to E in to get the last sweet spot. So I think he just baited himself. I don't think he ever kills at that threshold. He didn't even press R until afterwards. And Mundo also still at R. So if anything, he could have gotten out with Flash. Here's another gank from the Maokai. Chain CC'd. Is it enough? And it is a kill going over to Victor. But Xin Zhao looking to trade it back. But I think it's pretty good for Victor. He gets the stacks. He's going to get the upgrades coming in. Spire is frisky. They're showing that DoV that they can match punch for punch on these support roams.
Yeah, and I think really the biggest thing here is the fact that I feel like there's just a little bit more early game pressure. I mean, obviously, Aatrox definitely struggling a little bit into this Mundo matchup, but right now, the Fury and the Victor are both getting so much value. And man, Fate just tries to walk forward and immediately is found. Bongo does have to duck and dodge out of the way of their artillery shots coming from the Xerath, but does so successfully. I mean, now the Dogs 3-0-1. The Fury fully online. You'd imagine they're going to be able to back here soon, get first item. Meanwhile, you have Pinahal trying to do something against Smoke up and top side. I believe that's the ultimate coming out from the Mundo to counteract a lot of that damage. But yeah, right now it's looking very good for Skyloft. And even Smoke is starting to have to back away here.
Yeah, I don't know what that gank was, but Etienne, his Poppy mother was not with him and holding him with the gank, so obviously it fails. I think he can't be looking for these ganks solo, and even then, the Victor almost solo killed the Xin Zhao on that gank diver. So a bit interesting. This might be a solo kill for Penaholic, but Mundo just walks out. Poppy is top here. Aatrox has to be careful. He could just get pinned and chained. He might just get run down.
Ooh, but the shield coming in from downtown Senna. The problem is Pandabo is 4 levels behind this Aatrox, and there is nothing they can do. And now Smoke has no health to work with, and no greedy plays coming out from Pinaholic. They're just going to take that kill and be a happy camper. That is quest completed, though, by the Mundo with the level up, so they'll get a little bit of extra health to work with. So you got to make it a little bit more difficult to dive in. But Pinaholic pretty much is gift wrapped, given over a kill. And now Fade's going to go for the sweeper, has to find this pick. Pinaholic needs to find the combos, not going to be able to do so. Has to back away, can't get away. And that is going to be Fate eventually finding the Aatrox, though it's just going to be a quick back to base, which does end up getting them the Eclipse.
Yeah, I almost baited myself. I thought it was a kill over DoV because I saw the Fury is R-ing in on
Fate.
the Xin Zhao.
Fate's just gone. Fate is just gone. They also get the camp off the back of that. That is huge for the Fury. 4-0-1. The Dogs are barking and they're going crazy across the rift.
Just punish. Oh my god, so much excitement.
Oh, Ziggs cannot get away. Pops the ultimate. Can they do anything? Flash through. Oh, they are able to find Glacial. Outplayed hands difference, but the Ignite prevents any healing and is going to slowly tick them away. Maokai to be the one to get the final hit there. But that is going to be a 1-for-1. Both ADC and APC fall in the process.
Yeah, just a bunch of greedy sequences across the map. Starts off with the Poppy gank. Mundo didn't have any sums or like ult to get HP back to help the gank to kill the Aatrox. So Poppy just gets drained and killed by the Aatrox. And then Aatrox overstays. He gets killed by Xin Zhao. Then Xin Zhao greedily goes to his camp with no prio from his soul lanes, and he gets killed by the Fury. And then bot lane, I mean, that was a nice outplay by point 2 as TN is getting jumped on again. But it looks like Blast comes to safety. Oh,
Okay,
Xerath is looking for more as he's ulting in.
Yeah, artillery shells from long range don't particularly land, but they're really good for spacing. The ult from Senna comes through, but it's a little bit too late. Cannot keep their allies up, but now this is going to be massive. The cleanup is in effect. They're able to get so much. The dive up on top side, Pinaholic taking too many turret shots. World Ender comes through, not able to out-survive. Ohio Drive has to flash out to survive themselves. And in the end, that is going to be a massive team fight win for Skyloft. I mean, huge plays from them. The shielding from the Senna ult, just perfect timing. Just barely able to keep the teammate up there. Seeker gets away with their life, and the damage is now there. I mean, look at the chunks that are being taken out of that Ziggs. And that's not even to mention the damage coming out from now the 4-0-3 Victor.
Right, exactly. I mean, DoV just doesn't know what kind of comp they're playing. They drafted 2 poke champs and they're playing like they can all in. the Zinzao and Poppy are not buying enough reading space or time. As Maokai's looking for another look on the Zeref, who should just die here with the CC chain. But Poppy and Zinzao are behind.
Yeah, that is going to be one pickup. Seeker, oh no, this is a very awkward spot. There is just nothing that Maokai can do. It ends up being a 1-for-1, though notably support for mid laner. I think they'll be happy with that trade. And fortunately, Ziggs gonna get ganked one more time, not going to be given the opportunity to find a trade before falling. And I mean, it's going to be costly. They lose 2 members, but they get the Rift Herald at least in the process. So they'll get something out of it. They're going to lose this tier 1 down on bot side, however. So a little costly. And also, that means that they're going to lose a little bit of control down on bot side, which is definitely going to be a problem, seeing as the Drake is up in just 30 seconds.
I mean, DoV had already secured top tower. So a lot of influx of gold on the Mundo as we're seeing an all-in fight here.
Yeah,
but it looks like
big
DoV
fight.
can just walk out.
Yeah, World Under was invested, so a couple of big cooldowns right before a big dragon fight.
Yeah, it was ult for ult, so top laners just won't be as relevant in this fight. But I think Spire is just too strong at the moment. I feel like they just have to. They have this soul point secured, and I think DoV is foolish if they try to contest. I mean, with the way they've been playing these fights with their team comp, they aren't poking. They aren't waiting for their poke to land. Their divers and gauges are just looking to fight, and that's just not how their comp is needed to be played. So. They just need to relax. They need to farm up, get their poke champs to their item spikes, and actually be patient. And I think that's the one thing that's hard about these comps, right? These players just want to perma fight, and they have no sense of patience, which is why these fights look so bad for them, even though they have good comp.
Absolutely. As we see, smoke is still becoming a problem. I mean, this is Mundo we're talking about. It is push all day long, and they're going to get the value even if the team fights are not going their way. The soul point was secured there by Skyloft in the midst of that chaos, so that is something to keep an eye out for. I think that was actually secured. The jungle camp was secured by the Fury, but we do see a full fight come through. That Senna ultimate's doing so much damage in combo with the Victor, and they are just being melted away double as 2 members on DoVT fall. Oh, it is getting sketchy. It is getting sketchy here for DoVT, who are struggling to stay into this. Now, a bit of a reset, as, I mean, Baron's going to be up in a minute 40. I don't think there's anything that Skyloft could do in the sense of they cannot steal this away quickly. But now, Neferi 6-0-4, Victor 6-0-4. I mean, Neferi's not seen as a hyperscaler, but the Victor certainly is. The fact that Victor is this so far ahead is certainly going to be a problem. He's usually this scary late into the game, but he is so advanced right now, but it does not matter that we are still sub 20 minutes. Victor is just melting anyone who steps forward.
Agreed. I mean, at this point, DoV really has no plays but the Mundo split push. They need to let this Mundo work the side lanes, let him kill these towers. The Aatrox at this point can't kill the Mundo. If anything, he's the one in the bad matchup with how accelerated this Mundo is. So they just need to buy time. Let the Mundo clear up the towers, open up the map, because right now they lose any 4v4, 4v5, 5v5. And flash in from behind the Maokai. They pick the Zeref out.
Okay, so Zeref stays to get the, I think that's a W, onto the Scuttle, to steal the Scuttle away from the 3 members of Skyloft, who then immediately jump the very non-mobile artillery mage. Yeah, maybe not the best idea, as they just immediately fall. Bongo, though, definitely in a risky spot, but here comes the TP as Poppy is rather low. World Under immediately popped for this fight. It's a 2v1. Turret's still up, though. Could be able to pull aggro, and that is going to be Smoke taking a lot of damage. Knocked up still. Low health bars. Has to be careful. Getting knocked up becoming a problem here for the Aatrox. As here comes the artillery shots, but here comes the cavalry as well. Pineholic does fall, but it comes out as a 1-1. Never mind, Obengo, I forgot, did fall early there. So in the end, the entire fight does end up being a 2-1 in favor of DOVT, though it's very sketchy.
Yeah, it was a good play by DoV to dive the Victor, and then the Aatrox, thinking he is strong enough to 1v3 was a bit silly. He would have died a lot sooner too if the Poppy didn't miss E. The Poppy E'd a minion instead of the Aatrox into the wall, which is why he was able to lifesteal some more and last longer. But they end up killing him, trading 1 for 2. Mundo should get a power here on this push. Another influx of gold. He's very strong. 3-0-3. I wonder if he'll go opt in for the machine gun build with Titanic, with Overlords, with Sundered Sky. I don't think he can go safe and tanky. I don't think they win any team fights with him. He just has to be a sideline threat. And I don't think anyone can match him. And no one can kill him fast. So this is the only hope DoV has.
Yeah, definitely need to start banking on some of their big threats on the board, because there's not many of them, but they could be a big decider as we see another skirmish breakout on mid. Right now, no damage really being dealt, but both teams in the area, they're obviously playing for control of this mid space, as Drake is going to be up in just 12 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this soul should just go over to Spire, but DoV are still looking to make their way in.
Okay.
Honestly, if I was the Mundo, I would just keep the top and play for tier 2.
Yeah, big engage coming out, and that's just one dead mid laner. Xerath has just exploded. Fate ignited, cannot get away. Smoke is able to get deep onto the enemy backline, finds Glacial, but look at the damage that is being dealt by Obongo. Is just absolutely deleting people. Smoke barely able to survive, but that's going to be a shutdown under the Fury. That's a lot of gold that just went over to the top laner, and Mundo survives through it all. Mundo goes where he pleases, but in the end, the fight's still gonna go the way of Skyloft, and they're gonna try to turn back for this Drake unless Mundo has something to say about it. But, I mean, 1v4, I mean, the healing is already back. Smoke, I believe with Mormogs, yeah, already has so much health, practically at full again. This might just have to be a back-off angle. I don't know if Skyloft wins this.
No, he can, if anything, he can just, like, steal the drag away. He's still in the fight. The Poppy is here. He could look to pick off the Maokai with the Xerath Barrage and the Mundo.
Yeah, big stun up.
Oh, it might be a team wipe here.
Ultimate. Yeah, there's no ultimate in from the Victor, as that was used. A couple of low health bars, mostly from Smoke, who's stunned up. They have vision on it, but this is very sketchy. And the full run back here as DOVT get the full respawn. They are back into the fray, but now Witchat is looking for a possible steal angle, and now they have to back away. They have to try to pull this Drake back to safety. The TP comes in from a bongo. The Maokai ultimate already back into play. Finds a double root. They're going to try to go for the cleanup. Now their time to get back into the action. But with the Drake secured by DOVT, they get out of dodge. And they do so quickly as they come back in, get the cleanup, get the Drake, and get out.
Yeah, I mean, the Mundo he's just a beast in these fights. He bought so much time. He was able to stall the Drake out for his team. The team comes back, gets a kill, gets the dragon. Like, he is a raid boss mode right now. I don't think it'd be an understatement to just send 5 people to his lane, try to kill him into a Baron for Spire, because I feel like this game is slipping. I don't think they have any good answers into the Mundo. He has TP, he has good split push items, and this Aatrox, like, his build is egregiously gross. He has Eclipse, he has the lifesteal boots for some reason, and he has Spirit of Visage. He is not killing anyone, he's not doing anything. He is a cannon minion. So, we needed to, like, group up and try the end game and pressure the Mundo off from side. But Victor is looking for Zeref. Might get a solo kill here.
Yeah, I mean,
And he
it's
does.
just going to be right now. The big threat on the board is the Mundo. I think in a 4v4 minus top laners, I think it's incredibly one-sided for Skyloft. But the moment Mundo comes into play, like you said, I don't think it's unwarranted to want to have a 5v1 scenario just to make it even, because Raid Boss Mundo is in effect, and as we like to say, he goes where he pleases. I mean, he used to be able to get chunked out so hard, and Obango is one of the is one of the most powerful members on the side of Skyloft, and is just doing nothing to the Mundo. Meanwhile, up on top side, Panda Boat definitely getting a little low. The Ignite should be able to burn through, if barely. Actually, no, it will not. But too much overinvestment from Fate is going to put them into an awkward position. Glacial has to play very careful, is going to be able to do so, and is going to get out with their life and the pick. Meanwhile, that is going to be another pick. That's a 2-for-0 again. When the Mundo's not in play, they win the fights. But now, look where Mundo is. They might get the Baron, but they're going to lose so much down on the bot side.
Yeah, I think he can dive this Aatrox, matter of fact, after he
Just
gets a tower.
ignoring him.
Yeah, he's just gonna
Oh,
kill him here too.
jeez.
The Aatrox has no R, he has Flash, but the Mudo should just run him down. Or you could just completely ignore him and go for the inhib. Because he can't do anything.
Yeah, they do have Baron, so Smoke actually having to respect him a little bit more. Can't get too cocky, pops the R just to get away, and will be able to do so, but Inhibitor now going to be open and available, as this Mundo, you'd imagine, is just going to become a massive threat on the side lanes. He is going to be that split pushing threat. And any major team fight now is going to be called into question, because Pineaholic, we saw there, is starting to do less and less and less to this Mundo. If no one can stop them, that means they're going to start losing team fights, which means they're going to start losing objective fights, and that just will end up being a very slow bleed out of Skyloft, and we'll have to wait and see. The first trial of how this end game is going to look for them is in just about a minute, as they're on Drag Soul Point.
Yeah, and
But
there's that
this
machine gun build
could be
I was
dangerous.
talking about for the Mundo. He's got the Overlords, he's got the Titanic. He should just run top. I don't think this dragon matters at all. I think the fact that we stalled out the game to a 5th drag is impressive enough. I think the Mundo should just go top. Take the tier 3 and start pressuring tier 2 into tier 3. I think he should just be there. I think he's on the wrong side of the map, and this is killing DoV's chances. So,
Yeah.
because I think he's just trying to he's staying bot side for the dragon, but it's already really hard to fight into Spire's team comp head on.
Yeah, definitely so. It was pretty much a full reset being done by red side here. Drake up in 15, so they're going to have the full means. But, I mean, with Baron buff, the siege is coming through. Obviously, that tier 1 already gone up on top side. Aatrox able to do so, so we're able to get a little bit of injection of gold being forced to be dealt with by the Xerath. So big artillery mage and big threat on the board is being distracted. But the 4v4 with Smoke in play could be dangerous for Skyloft, but they're going to try to take it anyway. They force everyone back a little bit. It looks like they're just going to try to go up to help top lane, but I mean, Aatrox is gone. Aatrox, I think this is a terrible read from the red side, as they're just going to give up Drake and Soul for absolutely nothing. Baron's not up for another 3.5 minutes.
I mean, I don't know what we're doing. We just completely ended on the opposite side of the map. Like, we had good position in mid and bot, but we send the Xerath to match the Aatrox push instead of the Mundo. The Mundo is just losing his mind, just walking around the jungle and Rift like he's on a stroll for some reason. Like, he needs to be pressuring the side lane. He cannot be grouping like a like a carry. He needs to be pushing. And with he's going to run bot now to scare off Spire, but this is kind of what they want. They want the Mundo to group up to be useless. And I think the Mundo just needs to go as where he pleases. He needs to go top lane. He needs to split push. He needs to fist the Aatrox and stop doing what he's doing. Like he was doing great earlier, just pressuring, but now he's trying to do too much. He's trying to like save the team and be there for the fights. But that's not how you're gonna win the game side of DoV. You're gonna win the game by having him backdoor and kill the enemy nexus. This grouping and being there to be bodyguard is doing nothing. It's doing more problems to them than anything. So at least finally he's back to the top lane, and Aatrox is pressured off.
Yeah, immediately. But you have to think about like how much time now has been wasted. How much more advantage could this Mundo have gotten if they were up on top side, if they were constantly putting pressure around the map, but instead now we're having to see them kind of pick up the paces. Pinaholic now level 17 has caught up with Smoke in levels. Obviously, build maybe not ideal, but at least is starting to close the gap on on items. So we'll be able to have at least a little bit more say. This is starting to look a little unfortunate. The first real test is Pinaholic actually is now level up. Still not doing a lot of damage to Smoke, but is at least doing more. Has a means to do something. World Ender is popped. The healing is insane as a fight breaks down on the bot side, and Faye is definitely put into an awkward position. Massive ult coming out from the Senna as World Ender does finally come to an end, and Aatrox has to be a little bit more careful. But tier 2 is gone on bot side as this siege is underway. DOVT looking significantly weaker than they were just a couple of minutes ago. Just a couple of misplays makes this a much scarier game for them now.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all a result because Smoke decided to do nothing for 2 minutes straight. Look how easily he took that tier 2. He took it in 2 hits. It had full crystalline, he had auto eat it, and it completely destroyed it. But he opts out to just wander the map. They gave up the dragon anyway, and they didn't get anything in return. He gets the tower like 3 minutes later after the fact. So that bot side play happens because we gave Spire so much breathing room instead of pressuring. I think all hope is not all hope is lost. There is still a chance DoV can play for the split pushing window. He has Hex plate as his final item, so he can run people down. He will have an influx of attack speed, but he needs to go to a side lane. Baron is spawned. Go bot lane, but he's here for the Baron fight for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, if they do secure Baron here, that could just be, obviously has had a lot of success on those side lanes. Imagine what they could do if they have those Baron boosted minions, especially the super minions now on that top side. Or excuse me, not quite. They still have both inhibitors, never mind. But still, the Baron buff minions could still do a lot of work. But here, they're also just not playing to their strengths. We see the artillery shots coming in from the Xerath ultimate, but it does very little. Xerath very much not really in the play here. I think 0-6 right now as Fate goes in. Can they find anything? That Senna ultimate does so much damage, and they're just gone. Obongo finds an ultimate and is going to find a double off the back. Smoke tries to 1v3, 1v4, and finally will be felled. And now, if you are DOVT, you are panicking. The big threat for your side is off the board. They're going to try to run him down. That shield is going to protect Bandabo, but only for so long. I mean, they have the grubs. They have damage. The wave is right behind them. Who needs Baron when you could just push, take over Mundo's role? And I'm imagining this is going to be Inhibitor. Not quite game, but Inhibitor maybe a look towards Baron.
Yeah, oh my god, we're opting into the 5v5 fight, which is what Spire likes. Yes, the Mundo is a raid boss. Yes, it takes forever to kill him, but once he runs out of gas, it's so easy to put him down, as you saw. He's able to trade kills, I believe, on the Senna, but he ends up giving a shutdown over. And DoV ends up losing the fight anyway. Like, imagine if he was bot lane here instead of dancing with his team 5-5 around the Baron. He could have gone inhib, could have possibly gotten a Nexus tower. We need a split push to draw the numbers away so his team can like do something else. But him grouping up here does nothing. He is not scary grouped up. He's scary when he's in the side lane. And once again, he's opting into grouping. They are looking for a pick, though, onto...
Notably, a lot of cooldowns down, and that's just going to be what exploded. Victor being shut down here, that is going to be a huge problem, as that's a lot of the damage, but that is going to be huge. Fate falls, Pinaholic starting to do a lot, can do a lot to anyone not named Smoke, but even Smoke is starting to get a little low here. But in the end, ends up being a 1-for-1. Both sides having to back away, respect the space a little bit, but both sides are desperate for this Elder. Smoke, though, having the Warmogs means that they are already back up to full health, as we see which at Black Mass is starting to try to get a flank angle here. Could try to find an assassination. 2.0 is low. That is a lot of damage that could be removed very quickly, as they're going to start this Elder with just 3 members present and Smoke still in the area. Hey,
yeah, I think they can still contest this. They are back now. TN is walking from base, but I think Smoke is just chain CC dead here. And
yeah, Smoke is just absolutely gone. Senna ultimate back is just going to immediately force back 2.0. Too many low health bars here as they try to go for the steal, but they're not able to do it. The Slay comes through. They do find the kill on the Maokai, but I fear it's not enough as they slowly make their way over towards the Baron. And you'd imagine it is going to be a Baron buff plus an Elder buff and then a re-engage. Meanwhile, you already have waves starting to crash onto that top tier 3. It is starting to get dire here for Twisted.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, is TN caught here? No, he has Flash out. But yeah, it should just be Elder Baron combo here. They should take the resets now and look to play off 2 waves. I don't think they can just run down and Unga Bunga mid. They do have Zeref, they do have Ziggs. They have really good wave clear. So they need to play off 2 waves here, crack one of these either top or bot lane outers. That should allow them to possibly end. But if they just run down mid, DoV has the wave clear to stop it.
Absolutely, as now with double buffs, this becomes very scary for DoVT. They need to play this carefully. One misstep, one misplay, one bit of poor positioning can be punished. And that punish could just be deadly. It could just mean the end of the series. And Smoke is confident enough to push out, but look at the damage that is being done. Smoke is no longer the raid boss he once was. Now, the Zereth shots come through, and either they miss or they just don't do a thing. And here comes the cleanup. You can feel it. The Senna ultimate does so much. Aatrox gets bounced away, but that is just stalling for time. Fate's already out of the server as the inhib is going to fall. They're chasing them down into Fountain. The turrets fall here soon. Smoke in a desperate attempt, desperately trying to hold the line to push back the defense just a little bit more, but it's all gonna be for naught. The ace comes through, the Nexus falls, and that is gonna be Skyloft taking the win in reverse sweep fashion here.
Yeah, absolutely disgusting by the side of the DoV. I'm speechless. I have no words left to say about what I just watched.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately here, I think just a lot of misplays when it comes to how to best utilize that Mundo. Unfortunately, they had a raid boss that really could have put a lot of pressure out of the sidelines. I mean, for the longest time, they kept sending Aatrox out to be that solo defender, and we saw what happened when that happened. When they decided to do that, Aatrox was just ignored. It was like someone just like having to deal with a mosquito around them. It was doing absolutely nothing to stop Mundo, who just took the tier 2, tier 3, and almost the inhibitor before finally having to back away. But rather than taking advantage of that potential, they just insisted on trying to take these 5v5s. And there is just too much damage built into that team composition. I mean, the Fury was absolutely diabolically ahead. Same with the Victor. So the amount of AD and AP spread damage that was just able to slowly, not even slowly, melt pretty much anyone, including the raid boss of Mundo. The moment it became a 5v5, it became a very winnable situation. I just think you're absolutely right. Not putting Mundo down the sidelines just ended up being a massive detriment to them.
Yeah, I mean, like, even with how strong the Fury was, how strong the Senna was, how strong the Victor was, they were still in the game, right? The Mundo, no one gets up the Mundo, but he decided not to split push. He decided to group up, and that just killed any chance DoV had to play the game. So, I mean, I think it's a nice learning experience, right before playoffs. I think if you see your teammates failing you like that, maybe in future games, if you are in a position to pull pressure away and split push and draw the enemy team to you, you do that. He now knows that he can't rely on his team in positions like that, and he is the carry. He has to split push. He has to be that 1v9 machine, but not grouped up. So hopefully DoV, I think there's still a strong team in our group. This loss is a bit disappointing considering they lost to Spire. But Spire's also a really good team. They have had made major adjustments to their roster. So DoV, learn from this, be better. I don't want to see anything like that ever again. My eyes are hurting. My brains are hurting. Like, holy.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, I believe we are going to end up calling it a night here. Any final thoughts before I send it home, Espada?
I got nothing else to say. It was a fun cast. Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely, and thank you so much. We were really struggling to find some color casters tonight, so you stepping up and taking it, and you did an absolutely phenomenal job. It was genuinely such a pleasure. You had so much insight to the game, so thank you so much for joining. If you're in Twitch chat, give him a shout out because Espada did an actually incredible job here on the desk. But of course, it was absolutely an amazing day. This was a rescheduled match. Technically, this week is supposed to be the off week, but that is not ending up being the case. I believe we have games tomorrow as well. Also, we got a little bit of news that Skyloft will draft DoV's Game 1 next week. Apparently, that was a bet that they had on this series. So the fact that Skyloft won means that DoV is going to have to deal with whatever Skyloft cook up for them, which is definitely going to be interesting. You won't want to miss that. Special thanks, of course, to other people who make this happen, all the TOs that make the magic happen behind the scenes to keep the games running smoothly, the players for making it happen, Romeo for pulling double duty today, being both the observer and the producer, so shout out to him. And of course, you people watching at home, because if you're not watching, what are we doing it for? You can check us out. I think we're going to be back live tomorrow for, I think, another rescheduled match. So there was a lot of action this week. I think there's also a match on Thursday. So there's a lot of stuff happening in CCS. Keep an eye out on all the social medias and the Discord so you are up to date with all that. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.